What's up guys, I'm about to review the latest chapter of Naruto just released, 681. Now this chapter really makes you think. It's like the end of the movie Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio, where you just have to think about it. And literally after that movie I thought about it for like 2 hours afterwards. I went on to imdb.com and I just read all the FAQ questions so I could literally understand every nook and cranny of that video, because it's one of those videos that really makes you think. Not video, films. Same thing with The Matrix. And this was another one of those instances because it all sort of wraps up everything in the movie. Having said that, I do have to make one big comment regarding this whole thing that I really have to enforce and assert because it's so big. And before I forget what it is that literally this chapter sort of wraps up a lot of the power level debates out there regarding different characters. In fact, the last 20 chapters have pretty much done the same thing. In fact, this whole arc has more or less done the same thing, especially since Kaguya's arrival. The reason being simply because let me just be honest with you guys. A lot of the mystery was what made it interesting. You didn't know how strong Sasuke was after his disappearance, all his changes, and then he had freaking Obito, who was Toby at the time, and you didn't know who Toby was, helping him out, surgically adding Itachi's eyes into his own. So you literally had no idea of like the cap of his strength. There's a lot of mystery behind it. He literally got up from the surgery after Itachi's eyes were grafted onto him, and he literally verbally and orally expressed his awareness of a power surge. And it's not just him. Orochimaru the same way. Sure, he got beat by Itachi, but now he's returned, and one could argue that he only got beat by Itachi because of that one sword technique that no one else can replicate. The sword that can literally I forgot the name of the sword, but it's like the greatest genjutsu sword of all time. And so like literally there was that air of mystery around a lot of these characters. Remember that bone guy who Gaara and Lee fought way back in the day, and they were about to die when his disease ended up killing him. Again, he's like literally, that's the one thing I hate about this arc, because the author was literally like, screw it, I'm going to bring back every single character that I can think of, and every single character that's strong, including that bone guy who I literally thought, like, sure, he was under Orochimaru, so one could reason that he was weaker than Orochimaru, but I felt he was really, really strong, potentially stronger than him. Like, he was only limited by his disease. But yeah, you get the point. Like, all these characters are brought back in, like, literally because of this big battle. It sort of, confines them to a power level. Oh, these people brought back with Ito Tensei are only this strong because they just fight the main foot soldiers pretty much in this great war. And they do this with a lot of characters, Orochimaru and a lot of the Kages, Hashirama, who literally was just some legend, and there's a lot of mystery regarding how strong he was in comparison to the current living, breathing characters. It's all sort of revealed and sort of spoiled. The mystery is gone, and most, if not all of them, are weaker than you would expect, because when there's mystery, they could have almost infinite power levels. And so now, I look at Hashirama and all these other characters differently. Although I do like Hashirama's personality and one can't deny that he's really strong. He beat Madara, who's like a genius, and he has this, childlike personality that doesn't clash with his strength, which is funny. At the same time, though, it's still kind of sad, that, and I've said this before, that literally every generation from the first generation with Kaguya and then her two sons has gotten weaker. Kaguya is the strongest. Her sons are slightly weaker, but still are badass motherfuckers who can travel, or at least one of them can travel through time and do all sorts of stuff. Now we get to the latest generation where most of these guys are really weak in comparison, which is kind of sad. But at the same time, like when we started this series, we thought they were really strong because wow, ninjas, they could do more than humans can. So you get the point though. And so before I get into like what this chapter is about, I just have to make one more statement. Again, I'm a little disappointed, and again, this doesn't reflect on a chapter. I thought it was a really good chapter. This whole thing about, you know, the mystery of Sasuke and Naruto's strength literally being dissolved, because same with Naruto, like since the time skip, like there's moments where like he kept growing in strength and learning new stuff, and you didn't know like his power cap, especially after he beat Pain. Like he just grew in strength. He gained all these new abilities after, you know, learning the Sage stuff. So you didn't know his power level. And there's all these debates because there's a lot of mystery about it, about who's stronger, Naruto, Sasuke, Hashirama, and all these fights, because there's a lot of mystery. And now with this chapter, it's literally like, okay, they literally needed a power up, like a super power up from the Sage of the Sixth Pass, who was like thousands of years, tens of thousands of years old, to even come close to combating Kaguya. Well, not even Kaguya, because they literally got owned in like a second by Kaguya. Like in this chapter, she literally just